across America tonight. War in the Gulf.
Roger, the first target destroyed. The first target destroyed.
New dogfights in the air. And destruction on the ground. Tonight we'll hear from an Iraqi ambassador. And Americans respond to the threat of domestic terrorism.
I spoke to someone in LA today who handles all the movie studios, and their travel is down 70%.
From CBS News, this is America Tonight, with Charles Carrault in New York and Leslie Stahl in Washington.
Good evening. The relentless pounding of Iraq from the air actually was stepped up today as the weather cleared. Tomorrow we may hear of 3,000 Allied missions against the Iraqis in just these 24 hours. The war produced its first Top Gun hero today, Saudi Air Force combat pilot Captain Ayed al-Shamrani. He was congratulated by his friends for what he did. What he did was shoot down 2 Iraqi fighters he picked up flying in low Saudi Arabia.
Go 2-0.
Target, bandit.
Stinger 2-0, confirm bandit.
That's a fan, bandit.
A camera mounted on the Saudi F-15 captured the excited captain stalking his enemy.
Roger, go away, everybody, go away.
He's talking to American pilots.
First target destroyed. The first target destroyed.
Copy. I'll say ID of bandit.
Roger, bandit. First target destroyed.
Second target destroyed.
I received the order to shoot them down, then I shot them down, both of them.
Today we saw some results of the American bombing of Iraq, only what Iraqi television wanted us to see. Civilian casualties at Mosul, a town about 200 miles northwest of Baghdad. There were downed power lines and the wreckage of what looked like people's homes. On the Kuwaiti border, United States Marines fired 35 rounds of high explosives trying to silence a troublesome Iraqi artillery battery.
We should have rocked somebody's world fairly well.
While the Marines massed on the border against the Iraqis, some of their comrades took a little island offshore, the first recovery of Kuwaiti territory.
Karoo is a tiny sand spit of an island sticking out of the Persian Gulf, about 32 miles off the coast of Kuwait. The importance of the island is not its size, but its location. It, together with the Dora platform that we took some days ago, provide early warning against any amphibious force that might be moving up this direction to attack Kuwait. Now, with both of these gone, the Iraqi eyes are out.
At least 3 Iraqis were reported killed on that little island. 29 others surrendered to Allied forces, which also sank an Iraqi ship laying mines. 22 crew members of the ship were picked up and became prisoners of war.
What is Iraq saying about the progress of the war? Let's go to Tokyo and our guest, the Iraqi ambassador to Japan, Rashid al-Rafai. Mr. Ambassador, I wonder what you're hearing from Baghdad, if you are hearing from Baghdad, on why, for instance, there has been so little resistance to the bombing on your part, and why there were no scuds fired today. What about the progress of the war?
Well, I think it is wrong to say that there was no resistance or little resistance to the bombing. There has been a ferocious resistance to the bombing, and the Allied losses in air was quite high, and the barbaric bombing of Iraqi cities and the damage inflicted on civilian targets and some of the heritage of Iraq actually caused the Iraqi people to solidify more behind their leadership and steadfast against any aggression in the future. And that is, of course, marks a failure of the American strategy in this respect, because they thought after bombing so heavily, the Iraqi people will weaken and stand against their leadership and so on. On the other side, the Iraqi army is still intact, and that is known even by the Americans. So we feel that we have withstood the attack very well. And anyway, this is the first part of the battle. It is the first phase, and the battle is long and bloody. I think it will be more battling to be done and more surprises to see in the future.
Let me ask you about the civilian casualties that you mentioned. There was a report today on CNN out of Baghdad, swarming civilians all over the streets, acting as if they felt quite secure because the United States was not bombing civilian targets.
I don't think this is correct. I think, you know, our civilians are courageous. They are used to bombing. They have been through a very long war, protracted war. So they know how to protect themselves.
Let me ask you about communicating with Baghdad. We've had a lot of reports about your central command and communications positions being bombed out. Are you getting regular communications from Baghdad? From
yes,
Saddam
we are,
Hussein?
continuously.
Yes.
It never stopped. And
Okay.
I think this business of saying that the command communications is damaged is just propaganda. It's a failure, really. The bombing was a failure in this respect.
Saddam Hussein has called publicly for acts of terrorism. There are reports that he is using diplomatic pouches. You're a diplomat. There have been diplomats around the world who are being expelled. What does your government hope to accomplish? What is the message in a terrorist attack on any country around the world?
Look, Leslie, first of all, you have to correct your statement. Our president did not call for acts of terrorism. He called on all Arab and Muslim and freedom-loving people to attack the interest of the United States and its ally for their aggression, barbaric aggression against Iraq. And this is what he called. And the rest is left for those people because Iraq is an Arab and Muslim country, and it is loved by many people all over the world. And it is very clear from the demonstrations you see, from the people you talk to in these countries, that they are all wholeheartedly with Iraq.
You know, there have been calls from your Arab...
And what about diplomatic pouches?
Yes.
I would like you to quote me one instant when a diplomatic pouch was found with some kind of terrorist weapons in it. Could you quote me one instant for that, or is it just a propaganda?
Well, I think that the diplomatic pouch has been used for messages and things like that, as far as I can understand the reports.
This is natural, of course. They are used for diplomatic messages.
And to activate the so-called terrorist networks.
Well, that's where you are wrong. You think so. And
I've
the
seen these
propaganda,
reports.
the American propaganda, well, what reports? Quote me one instant when there is a proof for that, and I will believe you.
Let me
But if you just say, I think...
Let me ask you very quickly, where we've run out of time. There have been calls for a ceasefire. Is this something that your government wants, a ceasefire?
Well, I think I hear that there are calls for ceasefire, for United Nations Security Council resolution for ceasefire.
Yes.
But I think our government will look at these things when they are adopted, and not before.
Okay.
We did not call.
You did not call. Thank you very much for being our guest. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure, Ms. Stoll.
Thank you. Charles.
Speaking of terrorism, some Americans are frightened that something will happen to them right here at home as a result of this war. Is there any reason to be afraid? We'll look into that question next.
When you rinse first with Plax, normal everyday brushing takes on a whole new meaning. Plax, clinically proven to remove more plaque than brushing alone.
When your eyes feel extra dry and irritated, they need extra relief. Visine Extra gets the red out, plus an extra medication soothes, cools, and moisturizes dry, irritated eyes. Visine gets the red out and a whole lot more.
Okay, listen up, people. It's Super Bucks weekend at Sears, and that means you decide what's on sale. Just grab the coupons from your newspaper for savings up to $50. So bring the coupons to Sears and let's shop.
I've really got to get some Z's.
Introducing single-dose maximum strength Nitol. Just one will help you fall fast asleep fast. New maximum strength Nitol. Just one Nitol will help you get a lot of Z's.
For those of you who have been reluctant to wear a hearing aid, Miracle Ear has more great news. If you have trouble hearing in noisy situations, the exciting Miracle Ear Clarifier may be your answer. The Clarifier features a special filter that automatically reduces background noise.
In a restaurant situation, it picks up the noises I want to hear, but the other noises are just moved off into the background.
If you or someone you know thinks they may be suffering from hearing loss, call Miracle Ear at this number and receive helpful information.
It really makes a lot of difference in your way of hearing and in your way of life.
Call this number. Miracle Ear will send you a booklet on better hearing, plus a coupon for a free hearing test. Call today. Learn about all the good news from Miracle Ear.
A lot of people don't even know you got it, especially the one I got, the design that I got.
Call this number. Find out if Miracle Ear can help you.
War in the Gulf. From high-tech weaponry to the common foot soldier. Get complete coverage tomorrow on a special edition of the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
When the weather gets tough, the tough play golf. The season premiere of the PGA Tour on CBS, the Phoenix Open. It might as well be spring.
Saturday afternoon, Madden brings you a Super Bowl special. Saturday night, he picks his all-Madden team. It's Madden from day till night, Saturday.
People in this country are buying gas masks. In this country, a dealer in New York has sold nearly 10,000 of them. The FBI said today it is watching supporters of Abu Nidal and other terrorist groups and hasn't found them up to anything much in this country. The FBI director said we ought to go about business as usual. But business is not quite as usual, especially at the airports.
How you doing today?
Washington, Los Angeles, Orlando.
If you leave your bag unattended at any given time, you're subject for your bag being searched and being confiscated by the authorities here at the airport.
All over this country, we're making things more secure, or so we think. The Goodyear blimp won't be allowed to fly over the Super Bowl this Sunday. There was a movie once about Arab terrorists attacking the Super Bowl from a blimp.
Señora, ¿la puedo ayudar, por favor?
Miami, Detroit.
I spoke to someone in LA today who handles all the movie studios, and their travel is down 70%.
People are not flying as much, even to safe places in the Caribbean.
People, for example, who are going to St. Bart's would call up and say, I'm canceling because of the threat of the Gulf War.
People who are canceling Caribbean vacations, Leslie, may be a little more afraid than they need to be.
Charles, joining us, Clayton McManaway, terrorism expert and former official with the State Department's Office of Counterterrorism. Should people be afraid to fly? Should people not go to Europe? Tell us what serious precautions we should be taking here.
Well, let me back up just for a bit and say that we are facing a very serious threat of terrorism, international terrorism, that we probably haven't faced before. We have now virtually every leader of every major Middle Eastern terrorist organization pledging support to Saddam Hussein, which suggests a concerted campaign against us and all those in the alliance against Iraq. And that coming at a time of a shooting war, which makes it unique. So it is a serious threat, and we should take it seriously. Having said that, I think we should make the further distinction that the likelihood of an attack against Americans is greater overseas than here. And secondly, with regard to what's going on overseas, I think it's encouraging to note the expulsions of Iraqi diplomats, so-called, that have been taking place from Europe to Asia in the last 4 or 5 days, which again suggests to me, although I'm not privy to any particular evidence or inside information at this point, that there has been planning going on all along. Just as the terrorists have been planning for the last 5 months, our officials have been planning for the last 5 months.
Okay. You said a lot. Then let's go back again to my first question. Should people not go to Europe?
I think it depends on where they're going, whether it's how important it is that they go now. I think people are traveling to Europe and the Middle East. They should check the Department of State travel advisories, which is very easy to do. There's a number you can call and check where the Department of State has issued advisories against traveling, and see if it's necessary. If it's not necessary to go now, postpone it. But keep in mind, this is going to last a long time. If you're going to change your lifestyle, you're going to be changing it for a long time. The terrorism will outlast the war for quite a while.
In other words, the war could end in 3 months, but this threat against American interests anywhere in the world could last for how long?
I think we'll see a terrorist incident on January the 16th for the next 10 to 15 years.
What do you make of the fact that there's been no major act of terrorism since the war began? And in fact, there really hadn't been any major act of terrorism for quite a while before the war.
Well, I think the fact that it hasn't been an attack, a Mideastern attack, since the war is a very important point. To me, it is a dramatic example of the control of state support over terrorism. These organizations have pledged their support, made themselves available to Saddam Hussein, and I believe that he has them in check. They're waiting for his go-ahead.
Well, you know, let's sum up here. You're sending out a mixed signal. One is that it's a very serious threat. He has these groups pledged to him where he's in a war. You seem to say it's very likely. Then on the other hand, you say that the expelling of so many Iraqis means we may have a handle on it. Which is it?
I think it's both. It is both. The threat is there. There will be attempts. Some we may be successful. You can't stop them all. I think a good job has been done at preventive measures to disrupt their efforts, disrupt the networks, which is key to keeping them from being successful. But they will try, and some will be successful.
Okay, Clayton McManaway, thank you very much. Back to you, Charles.
This is a war, but what war is it? What name is it going to go by in the history books? We'll speculate about that later on.
Okay, listen up, people. It's Super Bucks weekend at Sears, and that means you decide what's on sale. Just grab the coupons from your newspaper for savings up to $50. So bring the coupons to Sears and let's shop.
Static cling can make you feel like this. What's your solution? Static Guard. Static Guard eliminates static cling instantly, completely. Get Static Guard. It's your best solution for static cling.
To be 7 again. High-spirited. A parent's pride and joy.
I'm gonna be 8 in 2 weeks.
Don't count on it.
Problem Child, coming to video stores January 31st from MCA Universal Home Video.
They destroyed everything he had, everything he was. Now crime has a new enemy, and justice has a new face. Who is Darkman? Find out February 14th at your local video store.
I'm Harry Smith.
And I'm Paula Zahn. Wake up to the latest news from the Middle East.
Our special coverage from the Gulf continues tomorrow on CBS This Morning.
War in the Gulf. From the home front to the battlefront. From high-tech weaponry to the common foot soldier. No one covers the war like Dan Rather and the CBS News team. Get complete, in-depth coverage of the latest events in the Middle East tomorrow on a special edition of the CBS Evening News.
America Tonight will continue.
9 different waterbeds, 1 low price. It's a waterbed special purchase from Big Sur Waterbeds. For a limited time, $199.99 buys the Country Fair, the New York, the Sedona, the Amarillo, the Hanover, the Chantel, the Pine Bluff Daybed, the Austin, or the Balboa. 9 great waterbeds, your choice just $199.99 each. Only at Big Sur Waterbeds, America's largest, just south of the University Park Mall in Mishawaka.
It's much easier to stay well than get well. After all, you have but one life and one body. Better protect them while you can.
Hi, I'm Dr. Robert Schiffman, reminding you you don't have to suffer needlessly from pain. Chiropractic gets to the cause and root of the problem, not just the effect and symptoms.
If you need relief from pain or simply want to ensure a healthy future, call the Schiffman Clinic to set up a free initial spinal examination.
Joey, you can't do this.
I must. I got 10 truckloads of new wallpaper coming in, and I need the space.
But selling quality wall covering at just $2.99 a double roll? You'll lose your shirt.
But I need the space.
That's right. Joy's has reduced a select group of $5.99 wallpaper to just $2.99 a double roll. This quality wallpaper retails elsewhere for up to $19.99. But you can get it now at Joey's for just $2.99 a double roll. Visit Joey's Discount Wallpaper, open 7 days a week in Toto, Maryville, and now Warsaw.
4 CBS newsmen are missing in northern Saudi Arabia. Correspondent Bob Simon, producer Peter Bluff, cameraman Roberto Alvarez, and soundman Juan Caldera. Bob Simon had been to the border last Friday. He came back with a piece of original reporting saying that ground skirmishes had begun.
This desolate road is destined to become a main battleground in the war which is already raging not very far from here. Bob Simon, CBS News, in the no man's land between Saudi Arabia and Kuwait.
He brought that story back, and then Bob Simon got in a car again on Sunday and drove north from Dhahran toward the front. A Saudi military patrol found their empty car today near the Kuwait border. We're worried about them, of course. I went with Bob Simon on what I think was his first foreign assignment for CBS News. President Lyndon Johnson sent the 82nd Airborne into Santo Domingo. Bob Simon had been working on the radio desk in New York. He said, I don't want to sit around there when there's a story going on. I'm a reporter. It didn't surprise me when he showed up a little bit later in Vietnam. He has showed up pretty nearly everywhere there's been a story going on for the past 25 years. It will not hurt anybody else's feelings around here if I say that we all regard Bob Simon as the best man to send when the shooting starts. Lately, he has been reporting from the press center at Dhahran, listening to the briefings and all that, but he didn't want to sit around there when there was a story going on. And like any good reporter, he hated working with a censor listening in and working in a pack. He told us about this just last Sunday morning.
If you're interviewing a GI, if you're interviewing an officer, he just will not say the same things when there is an information officer, a captain or a major peering over your shoulder. It affects the very intimacy of the kinds of conversations you can have with people. Not only do we have to be with an escort officer, but we are traveling in what are known as pools, which means that at least 7 of us are together at the same time. It is enforced pack journalism. We are so often accused of being pack journalists. This is an organized form of it. I suspect that the Pentagon, the administration, would like war coverage to come back with F-15s taking off and landing, with aircraft carriers plowing the seas, with the kinds of footage that promote the kind of war which the Pentagon, which the administration will want to see on American television screen. If the war is very short, if we're not with units when the war begins, we will do what we tried to do in Vietnam. We'll get in our cars and try to get there. They'll try to stop us. It'll be a battle of wits.
So Bob Simon and the others got in a car 5 days ago and headed for the story, the front lines where the Marines and the Iraqis face each other. It'll be a good story, too, when he comes back with it. We hope he and Bluff and Alvarez and Caldera come back pretty soon.
When sore muscles or minor arthritis pain hold you back, you need strong medicine. Ben Gay was not just 1, but 2 pain relievers. Warming power for fast relief helps get you going again. Ben Gay, fast, strong medicine for pain relief.
This is the sound of Unisom, the sound of sleep. With Unisom, you hit your pillow and fall asleep fast. Tonight, you can sleep more soundly with Unisom, America's #1 sleep aid.
Refreshing mint.
No wonder Polident has a minty mouthwash ingredient in every tablet. Other cleansers may get dentures clean, but Polident gets the minty fresh clean. Super strength, super minty, Polident.
When you get to a sale and this is all that's on sale, it's not like the National Home Appliance Sale at Sears Brand Central where virtually every major brand's on sale. Like this huge LXI 27-inch MTS stereo TV with remote. But hurry, because you get the picture.
Stay with us for more America Tonight.
All 1990 inventory must be sold at Value City Furniture.
We've flash prices store-wide for immediate sale. Many items below actual cost.
Like this plush trailer sofa, not $550, only $344.
Four-piece bedroom, not $450, only $298.
Five-piece dinette over half off, only $98.
Accent tables over half off, only $69 each.
Lamp buyout over half off, your choice, $19 each.
Buy now with no money down. Store-wide savings up to 70% off.
It all must be sold now at Value City Furniture.
Heritage has a great new offer I just can't believe. Right now, installation is absolutely free. Not half price, not $9.95. It's free. Plus, there's something new. The 3-star bonus pack. You get 3 great movie services for 1 low price. It's unbelievable. Excuse me while I go make a phone call. Call Heritage today. This offer ends soon.
Stop. Before you pay another bill, Michiana's only 5-star Ford dealer, EB Ford Lincoln Mercury in Goshen, will pay off your credit cards. That's right. We'll pay off your personal credit cards up to $2,000 on any new or used car or truck in stock. Don't let $100, $200, or $300 in monthly bills stop you from owning the car or truck you want. There's over 300 automobiles to choose from right now, and it'll happen only once, and it's going on now till Thursday, January 31st. We'll pay off your credit cards up to $2,000 and you own a brand new or quality pre-owned car or truck. Only at EB Ford Lincoln Mercury on US 33 West between Goshen and Dunlap. Don't miss it.
Tomorrow on America's front pages, the Washington Post reports on an airstrike to kill Saddam Hussein that was foiled by the weather. One night last week, Allied intelligence had pinpointed his whereabouts. Bombers were sent off to the site, but a storm front blew in and prevented the planes from striking. Officials have never confirmed that Saddam is a target. And 2 senators claiming the oil companies have been gouging consumers since the invasion of Kuwait will introduce legislation for a windfall oil profits tax. Exxon's profits alone rose 121% in the 4th quarter.
The Pentagon doesn't call this a war. It's called Operation Desert Storm. Sooner or later, history will give it a different name. But what name? The Iraq War, the Arab-American War, the Kuwait War, the Gulf War? In the preface to his book about the war we now call World War II, and the Russians still call the Great Patriotic War, Winston Churchill writes, "One day President Roosevelt told me that he was asking publicly for suggestions about what the war should be called. I said at once, the unnecessary war." All wars are unnecessary, of course, until they really get going, like the Civil War, which Southerners called the War of Northern Aggression, or World War I, which was called the Great War until a greater one started in 1939. Operation Desert Storm will be called something in years to come. One thing we may all hope it isn't called: World War III. Good night, Leslie.
Good night, Charles. Good night, everyone.
Later on Night Watch, press restrictions. How do journalists feel about government censors in the Gulf War coverage? That story and more on CBS News Night Watch.
This is CBS.
Grandpa!
Hey, how you doing? Come on.
Look what I do in school today, Grandpa.
Oh, my. The heart. Very good. The aorta, the left and right ventricles, and the auricles.
Yeah, but how do you know so much about the heart? Did you want to be a doctor when you were little?
Well, being black once meant forgetting about your dreams. Today, the United Negro College Fund keeps these dreams alive with a quality education.
But you would have been the best doctor, Grandpa.
Oh, you think so?
But without your support, new dreams will die.
Can I be a doctor? Grandpa?
Get ready for Live with Regis and Kathy Lee, weekday mornings at 9 on WSBT TV.